now being recorded.
In the last class, we spoke about uh, the place of supply of services, and we uh, took so many examples and so many services. Now, let's talk about some more services, and we will identify uh, the place of service, the place of supply of such services, the place of supply of such services. Okay, so let's start with the discussion. So these were some of the slides which we have already discussed in the last class. So majority of them have been covered, and we discussed up to this point. Okay, we discussed up to this point as far as the supply place of supply of services are concerned. Let's take up some more examples. Let's take up some more examples. So here another example, and we are going to identify the type of service uh, and what is the place of supply of service. What is the place of supply of service? Okay. So already we have discussed about fixed telecommunication lines and prepaid and postpaid lines. Okay. So let's take a small example as far as place of determining the place of supply of services as far as telecommunication is concerned. Telecommunication is concerned. Okay. So there can be uh, questions on this kind of services, and you have to identify the place of supply of service. Okay. Now, what is the first supply of service? The first supply of service is fixed telecommunication line, or DTH we call it. So it is nothing but a landline services provided by telecommunication operators to individuals or registered persons. For example, Mr. Ajay takes a DTH. I think you know about DTH from Tata Sky, direct to house or direct to home, and this is registered in Karnataka. Okay. Now, in this case, this is a fixed landline connection as far as cable is concerned, and in this case, the answer is, if you look, the answer is location where the telecommunication line is installed. जैसे कि आपके घर में लैंडलाइन को लगाया है, तो that is the place where the service is provided. So in this case, the service is provided at Karnataka. So this is Karnataka, number one. Number two, who is providing? A person from Karnataka. Who is that person? Tata Sky. So location where the telecommunication is installed. It is installed at Mr. Ajay's house at Karnataka. So Karnataka is the place of supply. That is Mr. Ajay's house, and the person who is supplying is from Karnataka. So both of them, the service provider and the service receiver, are both at the same place, same state. So it is a case of intra-state supply of services, and for intra-state supply of services, 50% goes to CGST and 50% goes to SGST, which is a state goods and services tax. Now, next one. So this is over. Number two, Akash Electronics installs, that is in Gujarat. Okay, Akash Electronics of Gujarat installs BSNL fixed line along with the landline registered in Gujarat. So it is again in Gujarat. These people are installing a fixed landline, and the guy who is involved in providing the services again is in Gujarat. So both the service receiver and the service provider are in the same state. So this is a case of intra-state supply of services. So 50% of the GST will go to central GST, and the remaining 50% will go to state GST. So this is also over. Next one is postpaid. For example, you might be having a postpaid mobile service or telephone collection. So in this case, the place of supply. In this case, the place of supply will be. In this case, the place of supply of service will be billing address. For example, at the time when you took a mobile service from Airtel, they might have asked you to provide some documents like Aadhaar card, PAN card, and residential proof, and two photos and all that stuff. So you are providing them a residential proof address like Aadhaar card. So that is the place where the supply of service is taking place. So in case of postpaid mobile connections and internet services, the place of supply is the billing address, the address at which the bill is sent for payment, the bill for payment. Okay, so in this case, the billing address uh, is the place of supply, and the address will be there on the records of the service provider. Either it can be Airtel or Vodafone, sorry, or Reliance Jio or Idea, and many other telecommunication players. So here, Messrs. Miss Anita Kolkata, Miss Anita of Kolkata takes a postpaid connection of Airtel registered in West Bengal and registers her parents' address as billing address. She moves to Bangalore but does not change the connection or update her address. So Anita has taken a postpaid connection from Airtel, and this Airtel is registered in West Bengal. And while taking the telephone collection, Anita has furnished her address as parents' address in West Bengal. So this is one part. Now later on, she goes to Bangalore and she doesn't change the address, and the billing is sent to Anita's house. So this is a case of even though the address is not changed, but the address is still Kolkata itself. So in this case, West Bengal, Airtel is providing services to West Bengal, Anita of West Bengal, Kolkata, as the billing address is Kolkata. So West Bengal is well, the service provider is in West Bengal, and the service receiver place of supply is also West Bengal. So it is a case of intra-state supply of services, intrastate supply of services, and CGST and SGST will be levied on this kind of services. Next one is prepaid. So prepaid means the opposite of postpaid. You scratch the card. Okay, so prepaid mobile connection through a selling agent. Mr. Ajay goes to Bombay and buys a Airtel recharge voucher. So recharge voucher are scratched. Popularly, you know about the recharge vouchers from Juhu in Maharashtra. Okay, so in this case, as I already told, for prepaid telecommunication services, you have to remember in prepaid telecommunication services, you have to remember that the place of supply is look here for prepaid. If it is through the agent, then the address of the selling agent, the person who is selling these prepaid vouchers, will be the place of supply. So where this guy has gone from Gujarat to Maharashtra, and from Maharashtra, that is in Maharashtra, he is purchasing from Juhu traders in Maharashtra. So this recharge voucher of Airtel is purchased by Ajay of Gujarat from Juhu Traders Maharashtra. So I told you the answer of place of supply is the address of the person who is selling this recharge vouchers. So the address is Juhu, Maharashtra. So this place of supply is Maharashtra. Even though he's from Gujarat, that doesn't make any difference. But he's buying, this person from Maharashtra is supplying it to person at Bombay. So it is a case of a intrastate supply of services, and CGST and SGST is levied. And standard disclosure, this particular information is been taken from a website called as cleartax.in. Next one is online prepaid recharges. So Today we are in the world of a pandemic, epidemic of corona, and we do online prepaid recharge. So that is mostly in place. So whenever you do this kind of activity and you are availing the service of online prepaid charges, prepaid telecommunication, then Mr. Let's see the answer. Mr. Ajay of Gujarat goes to Bombay and recharges Airtel mobile online from Bombay. So here the answer is, look at the answer. The answer is for online prepaid charges through internet or electronic mode by any person, recipient can be any person, recipient of the service on the records of the supplier of the service. So whoever is supplying the services on the books of records of this service provider, where is the recipient? So that may would be mentioned in the book on the records of the service provider. So in this case, even though he has gone to Bombay and recharged online, in case of in this case, Mr. Vijay has given the address of Gujarat to the book to Airtel telecommunication mobile services provider. So the place of supply will be Gujarat. So Gujarat. So it is a case of intrastate supply of services. So this is the way you have to answer your questions in your examination. Next one. Now let's take some more examples. Yesterday we have spoken about this particular point. Now let's take some more examples as far as training is concerned. So training is provided by on certain aspects. So this is a kind of service which is provided. Service which is provided. So we have to find out what the place of supply of service and other aspects. Okay. So there is a company by name Kathy Industries Limited. It hires First Source Consultancy Mumbai to impart soft skill training program to its employees. The training program will be conducted at Mumbai. So there is a company in Gujarat which has taken services of this company of Bombay, and the employees will get soft skill training program at Bombay from this particular company which is in Bombay. So I told you to this the answer as far as place of supply is in case of the registered in case of registered recipient, then the place of the location of the recipient. So in this case, even though they are going to Bombay, the place of supply is, as this Kyati Industries Limited is a registered has registered under GST Act, and in such case, and and in this kind of particular service, the place of supply will be the location of the recipient of the service. The location of the recipient of the service is Gujarat. Okay, so in this case, please remember Bombay, Bombay from Bombay, the services are provided to a person in Gujarat. Place of supply is Gujarat. So it is a case of intrastate supply of services, and the recipient is in Gujarat, as already discussed. And we are going to this guy is going to charge because of the prevalent laws, and as it is an intrastate supply of services, IGST will be levied. Next one, training to unregistered person. Now, in the previous case, in the case just now, what we have seen, it was a service which was provided to a registered person, but sometimes training can be provided to a unregistered person. So we have to find out the type of supply, and we have to find out the type of tax which is going to be levied. So training to an unregistered person, Mr. Okay, Anita, who is an unregistered person in Bangalore, signs up with a particular company at Bombay for training on public speaking. So public speaking, she attends the training program in Bombay. Okay, so she is now the person who is the receiver of a recipient of services, and Gavin Consultancy is the service provider, and the services are provided to Anita of Bangalore at Bombay. So what type of service it is? First and foremost, it is a service of training. Number one. Number two is when the service recipient is unregistered, then the answer to this is, as far as place of supply is concerned, is since the recipient is unregistered, location where the services are provided is the place of supply. Location where the services are provided. Now the service is provided. Look at this. The services are provided at Bombay. So Bombay will be the place of supply. So Bombay will be the place of supply. And whenever only one thing comes into picture, that is, for example, in this case, Bombay has come into picture, which is place of supply. Just remember, it is a case of intrastate supply of services, and GST of CGST and SGST will be levied. Now, another set of examples which are very important. Let's take one by one. Admission to a amusement park. For example, you go to cinema theaters to watch a movie. You go to a mall. You go to SL World. You go to SL World. You go to Imagica. You go to water park. So you are getting admission to a amusement. Amusement means recreation park. So Imagica is one, SL World, cinema theater, or to watch a movie, and a water park. So you go and watch it. So these guys are providing you services of watching movie, having a recreation at water parks and other stuff at a park. So there is a service which is provided by the service provider, and there is a service which is received by the people who are availing these services, and you have to find out the place of supply and subsequent uh, type of tax which will be levied based upon the place of supply as determined. Let's take a small example. Let's take a small example. A person in Karnataka. So somebody is there in Karnataka, buys admission tickets to Nico Park of Kolkata. Nico Park of Kolkata. There is a park, big amusement park in Kolkata. Park in Kolkata. Okay, first number one. Number two, Mr. X is there in Karnataka. X is there in Karnataka. So he goes and he purchases online or maybe physical some tickets for getting admission to a Nico Park of Kolkata in West Bengal. So in this case, what is the type of service? The type of service is admission to amusement parks. Now, as I already told, in these cases where you are getting admission to amusement parks or recreation centers, the place of supply is where the park is, or the location of the park, where the park is, or where is the location of the amusement park. So in this case, the amusement park is in West Bengal. The amusement park is in West Bengal. So that is the place of supply. If you look here, the place of supply is the location of the park, and in this case, it is an example of a intrastate supply of services, because the place of supply is in West Bengal, and the place of supply as determined is West Bengal, and we are going to this guy is going to be charged for this particular transaction, intrastate supply of services. Another example I will give you. For example, you watch a movie. For example, you are from Nanded, or you are from Latur. You go to Pune. You go to Pune and watch a movie in Pune, and you are paying some 1,000 rupees ticket. So they are going to charge what? If you look carefully, they will be charging GST of CGST and SGST, because the place of supply is where the amusement park is, or the mall is. So in this case, it is a intra-state supply of services, and 50% will be towards CGST and 50% will be towards SGST. So this is also clear. You can be expecting this kind of questions in your online examination. So hope this is clear. Event managed for registered person. Events managed for registered person. Let's look at the event. There is a company which is into event management, is hired by a company by name Akash Electronics of Gujarat to conduct an annual sales event in Mumbai. So there is a company by name Akash Electronics in Gujarat. Okay, Gujarat, and they are conducting an annual sales meet. Annual sales meet means what? This company is having so many branches across India, and they are inviting all the salespeople to come to a event called as annual sales meet. And this annual sales meet is taking place in Mumbai. In Mumbai, and on top of it, this particular person event managed for registered. Now, this particular company is a registered person under GST Act. Okay, in such a case, you have to find out what is the type of service. The type of service is event management. Who is managing the event? This guy, which is Yardi event managers are managing this service. What service? Event management service. Now, in this case, where event management is the service provided, please remember the answer to this as far as place of supply is concerned. Gujarat in this case, because since the recipient is registered, location of the recipient is the place of supply. So in this case, where event management is a service provided and it is provided to a registered person, the location of the recipient of the service if he is registered. So in this case, where is he registered? He is registered in Bombay, Gujarat. And where is the service he is getting? He is getting service in Maharashtra, which is in Bombay. In Bombay. So there are two different states. From this is the service receiver. From this place, the service has been provided. So it is a case of intrastate sale of intrastate supply of services, and hence IGST is levied. And hence IGST is levied. So different situations, different answers. So you need to be very familiar with the rules and regulations, the laws as far as place of supply of services of goods as well as services. You should place of supply of services as well as goods you should be familiar with. Event managed for unregistered person. In this case, the last previous case, it was event managed for a registered person. Sometimes it may so happen that a unregistered person is getting services of event management. Now, the same case, the same company is providing the services, but to a person who is unregistered under the GST Act. So, in this case, let's take the example. Yardi Event Managers of Bombay is hired by Malini. She is based in Bangalore to manage her sister's wedding. So her sister is getting wedding at Bombay, and Malini of Bangalore is asking this guy who is the event manager to take care of the proceedings of the wedding and suitable arrangements at their end. So these services are provided by Yardi event manager of Bombay to Malini of Bangalore at Mumbai. So as this is a case of unregistered person, because Malini is not registered under GST Act, so the place of supply of services, the type of service provider is provided is event management, number one. Now, place of supply is Bombay. I told you the answer is in such a case where the services are provided to unregistered person under GST, then the answer is location of the event, where the event is taking place. This particular marriage is taking place. This event is conducted by the Yardi event managers at Bombay, and hence the place where the event is conducted. So location of the event. Location of the event is the place of supply. So in this, it is Bombay. Bombay. So whenever only one is in picture, it is a case of intrastate supply of services because she is unregistered. So it doesn't have anything to do with Karnataka. Karnataka doesn't come into picture. So Bombay is the place of supply of services, and hence we are going. This guy is going to charge because of the rules. It is a case of intrastate supply of services, and CGST and SGST will be levied. Now let's take some more examples. Let's take some more examples. So this was the example already we have taken. Now let's take the example of goods transportation. Goods transportation. So this is also a type of service. So we have three examples. Let look at the example 1, example 2, and example 3. There can be some questions on this kind of services, like goods transportation and passenger transportation. So let's solve one by one, and subsequently we will going to be taking a new topic, that is valuation of goods and services. Okay. So goods transportation. Let's take the example. XYZ, a goods transporting company based in Karnataka, is hired by Akash Electronics registered in Karnataka to transport 50 TV sets. So there is a company which is into goods transportation, which is XYZ company. XYZ company. Okay. This company has been hired by Akash Electronics. Akash Electronics. This Akash Electronics is into the manufacturing of some TVs. So uh, X, they have asked XYZ Company Limited to transport to a particular destination. So XYZ Limited now is providing the services of goods transportation. Okay. So what type of service it is? It is a supply of service. The type of supply of service is transportation of goods. Now, number one. Number two is, what is the place of supply? In case of a registered dealer. Now, in this case, Akash Electronics is a registered dealer, because they are manufacturing TVs, and we are assuming that this is a company, and the company has to certainly get registered under GST Act with some ifs and buts and provisions. So here, the location of the registered person. The location of the registered person is in Karnataka. The location of the registered person is in Karnataka. So where is the service provided? The place of supply of services is at the location of the registered person, which is in Karnataka, and the guy who is supplying also is in Karnataka. So both are in Karnataka. So it is a case of interstate supply of services, and hence CGST and SGST of 50% each will be levied. Hope this is also clear. Goods transportation in interstate. Now this is interstate within the state. Now goods transportation in interstate. Now XYZ transportation company is hired by Vinay Garments, registered in Maharashtra, to transport 200 sarees from Bangalore to Mumbai. Okay, let's take the example. So XYZ company is into the transportation business, is into transportation of goods, transportation of goods. That is, they are having some logistic services. Okay, that is the way you can understand. And they are being hired by Vinay Garments of Mumbai, and Vinay Garments of Mumbai, Vinay Garments of Mumbai, and Vinay Garments of Mumbai is registered. Okay, registered in Mumbai. Okay, so that is clear to you. Now they are being asked to transport 200 particular items from Bangalore to Pune. So this you can just disregard. Okay, so the type of service it is. The type of service is transportation of goods. Now, in this case, you have to find out the place of supply. And in this case, the place of supply is, as already told, the location of the registered person. This person to whom the services are provided is in Mumbai. And the person who is supplying these services is in Karnataka. So, one person is in Karnataka, the service provider, and the service receiver, that is the place of supply, is at Mumbai. So, it is Karnataka and Maharashtra, which are two different states. And hence, it is a example of interstate supply of services, and on this particular transaction, it is a IGST which will be levied. So hope you are clear as far as this particular example is concerned. Next one, let's take the third example. So many examples you can prepare for the examination, and then you are thoroughly prepared for the examination, because it's a very vast topic. Goods transportation by unregistered person. Goods transportation by unregistered person. Let's take the example. Mr. Sharma in Bangalore is transferring his car by railway freight to Mumbai. He puts the car in. He puts up the car in Bangalore station. So Mr. Sharma is having a car, and he wants to transport it to Bombay, because I think he might be transferred to Bombay, and from Bangalore he's now moving to Bombay, and his car he has to transport it. So he's transporting it at Bombay by railways. So what type of supply it is? It is a supply of transportation of goods. Place of supply is Karnataka, location at which the goods are handed over for transportation. Okay, whenever there is an unregistered person who is receiving the services, in this case, Mr. Sharma is not registered because is an individual, and individual is in this case is assumed that is not a registered person and GST under GST, sorry, and hence whenever goods transportation services are provided to an unregistered person, then location at which goods are handed over for their transportation. Now, in this case, the goods are handed over for transportation from Bangalore to Mumbai is at Bangalore. So, Bangalore is the place of supply. So, place of supply is in Bangalore, that is Karnataka. So, here the type of GST which is going to be levied is CGST and SGST. So, these are this is the example. Just now let's take one more example. Okay, let's take one more example. Now let's talk about transportation. Now until so far we have talked about transportation of goods. Sorry. Now we will have a example of transportation of passengers. Transportation of passengers. So let's take an example. Transportation of passengers by roads, by rail, by waterways, or by airways. So this is the kind of service provided. To whom it is provided? This kind of service is provided, and the receiver of the service can be a registered person or an unregistered person. And in case of a transportation of a passenger, that kind of service is provided to a registered person. Then the place of supply is location of such person who is receiving these kind of services, this kind of service, sorry. And if transportation of service passengers is provided, service is provided to unregistered person, then the place of supply is location where the passengers embark on conveyance for a continuous journey. So let's take a small example. So this is the answer. This is the place of supply. Let's take a small example. Let's take a small example. This kind of questions again are expected in examination. Okay. Now, example is the service, this type of service, transportation services of passengers are provided to a registered person. Let's take the example. Akash Electronics, who is registered in Bangalore, purchases corporate flight ticket from Bangalore to Delhi. From Bangalore to Delhi from Happy Air Travels Limited, Delhi branch. So this is the guy. Who is this guy? Akash Electronics. Is the guy who has registered in Bangalore, and he is going from Bangalore to Delhi. And for this, he has gone and purchased a flight ticket, corporate flight ticket from a agency called as Happy Air Travels Limited of Delhi. Okay, and the flight is from Bangalore to Delhi. So in this case, as the service is provided to a registered person who is none other than Akash Electronics. Then in this case, you have to identify the place of supply as location of the registered recipient of services. So the registered recipient of services is in Bangalore, who is none other than Akash Electronics. Akash Electronics is in Bangalore, is in Bangalore. So Bangalore is in Karnataka. So the place of supply is Bangalore, Karnataka. Now, who is providing? A person, a company by name Happy Air Travels Limited from Delhi. So service provider is in Delhi, and the service receiver received at the place of supply being Karnataka. So two different, one is Union Territory and one is Karnataka, which is a state, are in picture, and hence because of this, what is going to be levied? The It is a case of a this is a case of interstate supply of services, interstate supply of services, and hence it is on this particular transaction IGST will be levied. Now another example. Now another example where the passenger service is provided to an unregistered person. Passenger service is provided to an unregistered person. Unregistered person. Let's take the example. Anita books a two-way. बोले तो from Bangalore to Kolkata and from Kolkata to Bangalore. Okay, two-way means from to and fro, from to and fro. Okay, so Anita books two-way air ticket from Bangalore to Kolkata. She leaves from Bangalore on 1st August and lands in Kolkata on the same day. She leaves she leaves Kolkata on 7th August and comes back to Bangalore. She booked the air ticket in Bangalore at the same day, at the same time, on the same day at the same time. Okay. So what this particular example primarily is telling that tickets are booked and there is a service which is available in the form of passenger transportation of passenger by rail. So now Anita is unregistered. So in this case, we have to find out what type of what type of sale it is, supply of services it is. See, at the time when she is boarding Bangalore, she has purchased the ticket from Bangalore, and as she is a unregistered person, as I already told, you look here to unregistered person, location of the recipient if the address is not available, location of the supply of services in other cases. So look, if the recipient address is not available in the record, okay, then it is if the address of the recipient of the service is on the records, then that is the place of supply. If such address is not available on the records, then location of the supplier of such service, whosoever is supplying those services. So let's take the answer. Now in this case, Bangalore is the supply of service, because since she is unregistered and the location where she embarks the journey becomes the place of supply. Okay, this is the answer. Okay, the place where she embarks, मतलब तो वो फ्लाइट के ऊपर चढ़ रही, फ्लाइट को कहाँ पकड़ रही है, शी इज बोर्डिंग द फ्लाइट at Bangalore. So at Bangalore. And who is providing this service? This service is provided by okay. Tickets are issued by Bangalore Airlines. So Bangalore person is the supplier of services, and the place of supply is of service is at Bangalore. So it is a interstate supply of service. On the other hand, once she is returning back, now what will happen from Kolkata to Bangalore? Let's see. In this case, who is issuing the ticket? She has got the ticket both booked at the same time from Bangalore branch. And here, in the second case, she's embarking or she's boarding that air flight at Bangalore, at Kolkata. So this is in West Bengal. So this is the place of supply. In the previous case, she has embarked for her journey at Bangalore. This was the place of supply, that is Bangalore. But in this case, reverse journey or back journey, she is boarding at West Bengal, Kolkata. So this is the place of supply. And from where she has purchased it from Bangalore. So the service provider is at Bangalore and the place of supply is at West Bengal. Okay, so this is a case of interstate supply of service, and hence we are going to be this particular transaction IGST will be levied. Okay, hope this is clear. Now, supply of services on board of a conveyance. This is again a different part altogether. What does it mean? Means once, see, for example, you are going to from Karnataka, that is in Bangalore, you are going to Kashmir, and you are purchasing some goods in between. That is the meaning of supply of services. For example, you purchased a water bottle, or you purchased some snacks, or you are ordered for meals. and they're providing you some meals and other things. So supply of services on board. On board means while you are traveling on in a train or in a bus, some services are provided. Okay, so what type of service it is, number one, and number two, what type of transaction, what type of supply it is, we are going to identify that. So that type of supply of service is supply of services on board, and the place of supply. So this is our answer. The place of supply for services provided on board for a conveyance is location of the first scheduled point of departure of that conveyance for that journey. Okay, let me give an example. So the example is there. You can go through this example. Let's understand the example. Viman Airways, registered in West Bengal, has a flight from. So this particular airlines is registered in West Bengal, has a flight from Bombay, from Guwahati to Chennai, Okay, to Chennai, stopping at Kolkata and Bangalore. So this is a very funny kind of situation. Flight is from Guwahati, sorry, to Chennai, and while from Guwahati to Chennai, it will stop at Kolkata and Bangalore. Mrs. Anita boards the flight at Kolkata. Now she boards at Kolkata. Who? Anita. And she goes to Bangalore and not to Chennai. Okay. So in between journey it is okay. Air crew is present on the board, serving food to passengers and taking care of their safety. Now to Anita, this particular airlines, the crew has supplied some food items. So for this, they are going to charge for food items some 1,000 rupees plus service charges of 200 rupees, and we are going to charge. We have to find out what type of transaction it is. So what type of transaction it is? Supply of food to passengers and safety services. This is number one. Place of supply. Place of supply. I told you in case of supply of services on board or services, the location of the first schedule. First कहाँ से चालू होता है ये particular airline? This particular airline has started, if you remember, from Guwahati. So it is at Guwahati it has started. So the place of supply is Guwahati. Location of the first point of departure. कहाँ से start होता है ये airline? वो भले ही कोलकाता में चढ़ी और बैंगलोर में उतर रही है, but this particular air flight has started at Guwahati. So the place of supply is Guwahati in Assam. So we have found that. Next one is who is the service provider? It is of West Bengal. So one is West Bengal, who is the service provider, and the place of service is a place of supply of services at Assam, Guwahati. So two different states are there in picture, and hence this is an excellent case of interstate supply of services, and IGST will be levied on this type of transactions. So my maximum amount of whatever I could cover under supply of goods, place of supply of goods and place of supply of services, I have covered the maximum. But if I come across some new points, I will share it with you. Now we are going to talk about the new topic, which is valuation of supply in GST. Valuation of supply in GST. Now, what do you mean by valuation of supply in GST? This is very, very important. This is very, very important, and there can be numerical problems in your examination. So let's understand valuation of supply in GST. Okay. So I will give you some instances. For example, Mr. X is there, and he goes to Reliance Electronics, where laptops, mobiles, and other electronic items are sold by this particular outlet. He goes there and purchases a laptop of 1 lakh rupees. So 1 lakh rupees is the value of the supply in this particular case. So this is the value on which GST will be levied. So we are not concerned about the type of GST, but GST will be levied. So on these 28% for example, assuming that the rate of GST on this particular product, which is mobile or laptop. So 28,000 will be levied on the valuation of the goods, and he has to pay 1,28,000 rupees as the total value towards the goods purchased or supplied by the supplied by Reliance Electronics, the retail outlet. So determining this is very, very important, because this is the basics or the one on which GST will be levied. So determining this becomes very, very important, and this is called as the value of the value of the supply. Either it can be a good or a service. Okay, so today we are going to talk about valuation of a supply of goods, and subsequently, as we move into the next classes, we'll be talking valuation of supply of services also. So valuation of a supply is very, very important. I will give you one more example. Let me give one more example. The example goes like this. For example, Mr. X is there. He goes to Mr. Y, and both are friends. Both are friends. And he purchases, Mr. X purchases from Mr. Y one laptop of 1 lakh rupees, and Y tells that, okay, you are my friend, you just pay me 50,000 rupees. Now there is an element of confusion whether the valuation should have been taken as 1 lakh rupees or 50,000 rupees for the purpose of calculation of GST or levying of GST is concerned. So there is a element of doubt or element of confusion. What is the valuation in such cases? So that's the reason why we should have thorough knowledge about how to value the supply of goods and services in order to determine the element of GST that has to be levied. Because in this case, either you can charge on this one or this one, but you don't know the exact answer. But if you are going through the rules and regulations, we'll come to know the exact answer to this as far as the valuation of goods and services, valuation of supply of goods and services are concerned. So that is the introduction as far as the topic is concerned. So this is very important slide, even though on the face of it, it is appearing the slide is a little bit clumsy, but still this is a very important slide, because the rules and regulations for valuation of goods and services is presented in this particular slide, and this slide is very, very important. This is the valuation of goods, the rules for valuation of goods. This is the valuation rules of services, that is supply of services, and this is the valuation rules of supply of goods. Okay, so let me give some examples from rule 1, rule 2, rule 3, rule 4, and rule 5, and rule 6. Rule 1, rule 2, rule 3, rule 4, rule 5, rule 6, rule 7, and rule 8. There are so many rules, but today we will be focusing on this, which are rule number 1 to rule number 5, valuation rule number 1 to rule number 5 of supply of goods. These are all pertaining to goods. This the remaining ones are the remaining. This one and this one is of services. This is also of goods. Okay. So let me give the. Let's take the first instance. Rule number 1, as far as valuation of goods are concerned. Valuation rules of goods, supply of goods are concerned, where the consideration is not wholly in money. Number 1. Number 2, where the supply is where the supply is between two distinct persons other than the agent, where the supply made or received is through the agent, and valuation based on cost, 100% of cost. So there are rules like this, and the answers as far as values are, how to find out the values are given. So let's take our discussion further, and from the next slide it will be easy for you to understand. So valuation of supply, there are so many aspects. So in this, we are going to take headings like consideration is not wholly in money. When there is a supply which is there taking place between two related parties, when there is a supply of goods or goods, and agent is involved, and other cases. Now the basic rule, very important one. This slide is very, very important one. The supplier and the recipient of the supply are not related, and the price is the sole consideration for the supply. Okay, what we will discuss about this point. Taxable value when consideration is not solely in money. So this is situation one. The supplier and the recipient of the supply of goods or services are not related, and the price is a sole consideration. Number one. This is situation one. Situation two is taxable supply when consideration is not solely in money. Okay, we'll talk about this one. You can expect questions for sure under this headings one, heading two. When the supply value of supply between distinct and related persons excluding agents, number three. And number four, valuation of supply of goods made or received through an agent, number four. And under other than 1 2 3 4 5 will fall under the category of other than 1 2 3 4, it will fall under the category of five. So there are five distinct situations as far as valuation rules are concerned. Valuation rules are concerned. So let's take one by one. The first one is the value, sorry, the supplier and the recipient of the supplier, recipient of the supplier not related to each other, and the price is the sole consideration, number one. Number two, taxable value of supply when consideration is not solely in money, and when supply is between two distinct and related parties, and when goods are sold or supplied through an agent, and the last case is different. So let's talk about the first one. Let's talk about the first one. There can be compulsory questions on 1, 2, and 3 for sure. Okay. Now the first one, when supplier and recipient of the service, supply of goods are related to each other, not related to each other, sorry, not related to each other, and the price is a sole consideration for supply. For example, Mr. X is there. He goes to Big Bazaar. He goes to Pantaloon or Big Bazaar, or he goes to Mr. X goes to Reliance Electronics or Reliance Digital, and he purchases a laptop of 1 lakh rupees. Now you have to identify the transaction, what type of transaction it is. Now, first and foremost, you have to identify the buyer and the seller. The seller is Reliance Digital and the buyer is Mr. X. So the supplier and recipient have been identified. Now you have to identify whether they are related to each other or not. So whether Mr. X and Reliance Digital are related to each other or not. Now assuming that they are not related, means they are not related, means they don't have any relationship. वो कौन है, ये कौन है, they don't know each other. If that is the case, then it will fall under the first category. And so half of the transaction now is being discussed, and in between them, who is the receiver? X is the receiver. Who is the supplier? Reliance Digital. What is being supplied? Laptop or mobile is supplied, and the price is the sole consideration. Sole consideration means if I am giving you laptop, what will you give to me? If I give you laptop, you are going to give me 1 lakh rupees, and between them they are concerned about what they are getting for what they are exchanging for. So if he is giving laptop, he will get 1 lakh rupees, and if he gives 1 lakh rupees, he is getting a laptop. So the transaction is of only money and money value. It doesn't have anything to say. For example, another example I will give. For example, you go and purchase a book from a stationery shop wala or a stationery dukan, and he tells that you have to pay 25 rupees. So first and foremost, the transaction is there is a supplier and a receiver, and they are not related. And you are giving him 25 rupees, and he is giving back a book to you. So between them, what is the interest? The interest is that they want to get something in return for what they have departed with. So this guy has lost his book and is getting 25 rupees, and this guy has got a book in return to 25 rupees. So 25 rupees for a book, and book he has got 25 rupees. So that is a consideration. So this is situation one. So in this kind of situations, what should be done as far as valuation of uh, valuation of supply of goods are concerned. So this is situation one. Situation two is taxable value when consideration is not solely in money. Not solely in money. Solely means only in money. Consideration is not only in money. For example, Mr. X is there, or Mrs. X will take, and she has got a washing machine. She has got a washing machine, and this washing machine has become old and not in a proper working condition. And Vijay Sales has come out with a offer of exchange, old for a new. So you, Mrs. X, will go to Vijay Sales and give her old washing machine to Vijay Sales, and apart from this, she will give another 10,000 rupees. So old machine, old washing plus washing machine plus 10,000 rupees, and she will get what? She will get a new washing machine. So there is an exchange offer, I can say. So this kind of transactions where money is not the when consideration is not only in solely in money. So here consideration is what? She is getting a new machine, okay, but what about this guy Vijay Sales? Not only it is getting money of 10,000 rupees, but also the Vijay Sales is getting old machine. So how do you evaluate the supply of goods in such a case? So that is the second aspect. Number third aspect is value of supply between two distinct and related persons. So related, in the first case, it was a case of supply of goods or services in between unrelated person, and the price is the sole consideration. The third case is the supply is taking place between distinct and related person. For example, Mr. A is there and Mr. B is there. So Mr. A is going to Mr. B's shop and purchasing a laptop of 1 lakh rupees, and they are friends and they are relatives, and when there is a relation like this, they are called as related person, and certainly he will charge less than the market price, or the ordinary price at which he would have sold it to other people. So he might have sold for 70,000 rupees, but the regular price at which he has been selling it to other customers is 10,000 rupees. So in this case, he will be charging only 70,000 rupees and GST will be levied. But in the previous cases, when they were selling it to unrelated people and price is sole consideration, he would have charged on 1 lakh rupees. So on 1 lakh rupees, he would have collected 28,000, and on this, he will be collecting only 15,600. If, for example, okay, for example, in this case, 20% is the tax rate. So 20,000 he would have collected. In this case, he is collecting only 14,000 rupees, and because of this, there is a difference of 6,000 rupees, and the government will not agree for this kind of transactions where there is a sale of goods which is taking place between two distinct persons. Now, fourth one we'll take up when we are taking up a numerical problem, and in the last case also we are going to find out what are the rules and regulations. So let's talk about the first case. What is the first case? So please remember, these are the main headings. These main 5 headings you have to remember. When the goods are sold, and the goods are sold between two unrelated parties, and the price is a sole consideration. Number two is the goods are sold between two related parties. Number three is when price is money is when the consideration is not paid only in money, but apart from money something else is also paid, and when goods are sold or supplied through an agent. And last is a specific supply of goods. So let's talk about the first condition. The first particular condition. The first particular condition is the supplier and the recipient are not related. Already we have discussed about this. When this is the situation, then what is the value of the goods? How do we do as far as the valuation of goods is concerned, of supply of goods is concerned? So in this case, the valuation of goods is the value of the supply of goods or services, or both shall be the transaction value. Very, very important. This word is very, very important. This word can be asked near MCQ. What is the valuation in case of goods and services are both are supplied to a unrelated party and the price is a sole consideration? The answer is transaction value. At which transaction value means at what price the the goods or services are being supplied by the supplier to the customer, because they don't have any other interest. They have only consideration as their interest, and which is the price, and this transaction value is the price actually paid or payable for said supply of goods or services, or both, and where the supplier and the recipient of the supply of goods or services are not related. So this is under a not related case, and the price is the sole consideration. Price is the sole consideration. So this point is also over. So in such a case, when the goods are transacted or supplied between two unrelated parties, and where the price is the sole consideration, the rule for valuation of such goods or services supplied is transaction value. But you have to remember some points. Transaction value is the price actually paid or payable for the supply of goods or services. So I gave you the example of a laptop purchased by Mr. X from Reliance Digital. So they are unrelated parties, and price is the sole consideration, and the transaction value is he is paying 1 lakh rupees and is getting a laptop. Transaction value is 1 lakh rupees, and the conditions in these cases are the supplier and the receiver of the goods are unrelated. They should not be related. For example, brother and sister, friends, they can't have like that. Okay, price is a sole consideration. Price is a sole consideration. So again, I have put the same one here. Now, what do you mean by related parties? Now you can ask me, sir, what is a related party? You're talking about there should not be any relation. So when will we say that there is a relation? I will give you one, two examples only, because it's a very big topic. So this example, related parties, such persons are employer and employee. For example, Mr. X is working in Tata Motors. Mr. X is working in Tata Motors. So he is an employee, and this is the employer. This is the employer. Now he is purchasing from the employer a car of 5 lakh rupees. Will Tata Motors sell the same product to him at 5 lakh rupees? No, because they are related parties. From the definition of persons are employer and employee, will be taught to be a related party. So in this case, 5 lakh rupees will be sold, worth of goods may be sold at a concessional price of 2 lakh rupees only. So yes, in this case, price is not the sale consideration, and they are related to each other. That is the example of related parties. So there are some definitions of related parties. You can have your idea on this one also. So hope this is also clear. Now let's take a small example. Let's take a small example, and then we are going to take up some numerical explanation to understand this particular position. Now, Mr. X is there. He has ordered for a laptop from Reliance Digital. Now, Reliance Digital is asking that this is telling that this laptop will be sold at rupees 1 lakh. Now, first and foremost, you have to identify what type of transaction it is. Unrelated parties, yes, and price is a sole consideration, and hence transaction value. So this is the basis on which the concerned GST will be levied. Now, how did we arrive at this 1 lakh rupees is very, very important. So at what price it is sold by Reliance, we have to find out what are the ingredients, what are the components of this 1 lakh rupees. So what should be the ones which should be included in this 1 lakh rupees, and what are the ones which should not be included in this 1 lakh rupees, because 1 lakh rupees is the basis on which GST will be levied. So probably Reliance has manufactured this particular goods, which is a laptop, and to manufacture these goods, whatever are the costs which are incurred should be included, plus element of profit should be included. So what are the costs which should be included in this one to arrive at this 1 lakh rupees? That is direct labor, material, direct labor. There are primarily 5 major heads of expenses. One is direct material, one is direct labor, one is factory overheads, one is office and administration overheads, and one is selling and distribution overheads. And to this, we will come to from this we will come to know what is the total cost, and there will be element of profit margin which will be included, and we will come to know this is the transaction value. So to find out the transaction value, we have to include all these expenses. We should include all these expenses. Again, I'm telling you, this is very, very important. Let me give one more example. Let me give one more example. So how do you arrive at transaction value? For example, Mr. X has ordered for a almara to Mr. Y Almara Manufacturing Company, which is into a Almara Manufacturing Company. Now this guy will produce Almara and supply to it to Mr. X at some 1 lakh rupees. Now, how did this guy arrive at this 1 lakh rupees, which is a transaction value? Because these are two unrelated parties and price is the sole consideration. How did he arrive at this 1 lakh rupees? It has been arrived at 1 lakh rupees by taking into consideration all the expenses incurred by this particular person. For example, what are the costs which are incurred by this particular person? This particular person has incurred some amount of money or cost for manufacturing this almara, which is supplied to Mr. X. What are the cost? One is raw material cost, one is wage cost, one is factory overheads, one is office and administration overheads, and one is selling and distribution overheads. So all this put together may be around 80,000 rupees to manufacture and sell the product to this one guy. And he will he will have a profit margin of, for example, 20,000 rupees. So this cost plus profit should be included to arrive at this 1 lakh rupees. To arrive at this 1 lakh rupees, which is called as the transaction value. This is a transaction value. Again, I am giving very important one because we will be spending a lot of time on what are the items which should be included in the transaction value and what are the items which should not be included in the transaction value. Again, one more example I will give you. The example is, for example, Mr. X goes to a factory that is a garment manufacturing company. Garment means a cloth manufacturing company, and buys 10 shirts and 10 pants, and the total transaction value in this case is some 20,000 rupees. Now, how did we arrive at this 20,000 rupees? Because this guy has manufactured these 10 shirts and 10 pants, and he has added some profit to the cost of manufacturing, and then he sold it to 20,000 rupees. Now, how did we arrive at this 20,000 rupees? It has some costs. One is the raw material cost, that is cloth. One is wages, that is the labor who are involved in manufacturing this cloth. One is factory overheads, that is factory rent, factory repairs, factory depreciation, factory fuel, and factory people who are working in factory salaries are paid. Next one is office and administration overheads, office rent, office stationery, office depreciation, office lighting, other expenses, selling and distribution overheads like salesman's commission, salesman salary. All these are calculated, and it is found that it is some 16,000 rupees. So he will not certainly sell less than this 16,000 rupees. If he sell it for 16,000 rupees, less than 16,000 rupees to this guy, Mr. X, then there will be a loss. So he has to sell for more than 60,000 rupees by including some profit of 4,000 rupees. In this case, he has included. So 20,000 rupees. So how did he arrive at this 20,000 rupees? By including raw material cost, wage cost, factory overheads, office and administration overheads, selling and distribution overheads, and other profits what he is contemplating for or looking for. So these are to be included in the transaction value, and this should be included because he has to recover all these expenses from the customer, and he will be looking for some elements of profit also. So you will be certainly be asked in the examination what are the items which should be included in the transaction value and what are the items which should not be included in the transaction value, and what are the adjustments which should be done to the transaction value by including some ones and including some non-including someone or excluding some items. That is very important. Now, that is what we are discussing. This is a one which tells which are the items which should be included and which are the items which should not be included in the transaction value. Now, let's take, I will take some of them and for example, packing. Should it be included by the manufacturer or by the supplier? Yes, he has to include it because now the Almara which we have manufactured, it should be properly packed and supplied to the end customer. And for packing, there is element of cost incurred by the supplier of goods. So that is the cost incurred by the supplier, and hence it should be included in the cost price. Yes, it should be included. Next one is other incidental expenses. Some incidental expenses which are incurred should be included. So in the transaction value, any tax, duty, and fees other than GST should be included. Any tax means any tax which are incurred, like for example, sales tax. Sales tax, it is not a part of it is included, it is there in GST, but assuming that some taxes are levied on the manufacturing of goods. For example, property tax or municipal tax, property, the rent, the office is there, and for this office premises of the manufacturer, they are paying some property tax, or you are purchasing some machine, and on this some taxes are levied. So the taxes, whatever are the expenses incurred toward these taxes, that has to be recovered from the customer through the by including them in the transaction value. Next one is interest. So if any interest is incurred for the manufacturing, for example, he has taken a loan from a bank, and the loan is taken for working capital or for any acquisition of assets. So he's paying this interest on the concerned loan borrowed from the bank to the banker. So it is a cost incurred, and that cost has to be recovered from the customer. Whatever has to be recovered from the customer should be included, and whatever is not to be whatever is not recovered from the customer should not be included. For example, discount. I am giving he's purchased it at 1 lakh rupees, and the cost is 80,000 rupees, and I am adding to it 20,000 rupees as profit. So the transaction value is 1 lakh rupees. So on this 1 lakh rupees, I am going to charge 28% of tax, GST. But I am giving some 5,000 discount. Yes, I can give discount. There is no problem. So now the transaction value is not 1 lakh rupees, it is 95,000 rupees because I am not collecting from the customer 1 lakh rupees, rather I am collecting from customer after giving a discount of 5,000 rupees, 95,000 rupees. So the tax should be levied, GST should be levied on this amount, excluding from this 5,000 rupees. On this I have to add, I have to deduct, and then on this I have to charge GST. So hope this is also clear. Now let's look at these items which have to be included on individual basis, and what are the items which should be excluded. The first particular uh, cost which should be included to arrive at the transaction value. So I already told the cost which should be included are taxes, duties, fees charged under any law for the time being, other than the last the charges levied by the CGST Act or UGST Act or any other act apart from the this particular acts. Whatever are the taxes levied by other concerned acts can be included. For example, if the product is under GST and exercise. So, for example, the product value is 1,000 rupees and excise is levied at 100 rupees. So the cost price has become 1,100 rupees. So it should be included. Okay, we will not go into the details. Next one, look at this. Look at this. Now, transportation cost, should it be included? Yes, please remember, transportation cost and insurance should be included to arrive at the in the cost of the goods to arrive at the transaction value. For example, transportation charges, unloading charges, loading charges, freight charges. These are the costs which are incurred for transporting the goods to the destination, and this should be included to arrive at the transaction value. So, irrespective of whosoever is taking care of the transportation, whether the buyer himself or the recipient or the supplier, it doesn't make any difference. But if the cost has incurred towards transportation, towards loading charges, unloading charges, freight charges, insurance, and other incidental, and because of this, the goods are reaching the customer safely and secure, and it should be included in the transaction value to arrive at the to find out the valuation. Now today I am going to stop here. Tomorrow again we'll be joining at a particular time which I will tell you. uh, Wait for a moment.